Lordship, the query to be asked is, if there is an allegation of fraud against me with regard even to this QSC, and that is made to the MP police, did they make an inquiry? The things have been said that I was blacklisted, I was not. Tamil Nadu, all
You've
this.
not stated anything like that.
It was part of the amendment.
I've confined myself entirely to
Mr.
facts of the case.
Should Lordship wish, nothing new. We just made all the arguments that I'm professing in bullet points, not even in paragraphs, Lordship.
We have a system after arguments, we do permit parties to file it. So
I
please
thought
file
assisting in the
it. If you
arguments.
don't want to file it, give it, we'll take it. And we'll also permit Mr. Dixon.
It was only to assist Lordship that I finished my.
We welcome it, we want it. Mr. Kohli,
Lordship.
if you turn to the, because this trail mail shows that certain documents are annexed. Can you show that this document at page 728 is part of this trail mail?
720. While I come to that, I'll just show the balanced things, Lordship, to just save of the court time.
Sorry?
While I'm taking instructions on the specific to show that this is part of the trail mail.
Yes, yes.
We'll get that. I'll just continue on the same document for a moment.
No,
Just
because why we are asking is,
understand.
this trail mail then goes to Mr. Raghunandan Rao. of
Which is
QSC
relevant, which is
of
what I'm going to
QSC on 23rd
Yes, Lordship. I'm
or
grateful.
24th.
Yes, Lordship.
And you're referring that we have received collected MAF through your distributor.
Let's Lordship.
And then he responds back saying that lead time for supply is 4 to 6 weeks.
Right, Lordship.
So if this is annexed in the trade mail, the same document, then their case gets watered down. That may not be a forged document. That's
Right,
why we
Lordship.
want to see if it's part of the trade.
I'm grateful for that, Lordship. And I was going to relate the Raghunandan Rao, and Lordship has seen that.
Raghunandan Rao email
Yes,
is
Lordship.
QSC.
I'm grateful. I'm just saying, eventually in June, the letter which comes is signed by Raghunandan.
That's right. But this is Raghunandan Rao is QSC before the on 24th.
I'm grateful,
April.
Lordship. So that part is done.
So
Now,
just-
what Lordship is asking me to essentially take my instructions and show
Because-
Lordship is that the document which is attached at page 726 is part of the
Of this trail mail.
of the trail mail that we are doing. Of course. Or any, I mean, email, basically Lordship is asking because ultimately the query is, there is no signature. When it comes on a formally with an email, it is as good as that, as an attachment. So
Yeah,
Lordship
because he would have received the attachment of MAF, and if it was forged,
We're
he would
getting
have
it,
said this
Lordship.
is forged.
In fact, Lordship, in fairness, he's the senior most person in Emery. I've asked him to come only because we said that anything that we need to assist Lordship with
Yeah, so-
to satisfy your
So if
conscience,
it's part of his mail, just show it and you can then file it later.
we can do that, Lordship. So may I, on this one part, just keeping that aside while on network and other issues they get through, will Lordship just hear me for another 5 minutes so
Yeah.
I can complete my arguments. I'm grateful for that indulgence. So Lordship, so now essentially Lordship, all it is boiling down to is QAC. An argument within that is raised. So I must satisfy on every argument. Earthport has come in. This argument was also raised. My argument is that in the 13 components that are part of this 50 lakhs out of a 976 crore tender, 0.5% approximately, 3 are Earthport, majority are QSC, and 3 are non-component suppliers. Because as I said, this is the video conferencing. There are some things that neither QSC would have nor Earthport would have, but you would bring it in. So that is on the merits part of it. Having done on the merits part, there are 2 other things that become relevant. And I'll then shift to the law, Lordship. I'll shift to the tender clauses. Is there a play in the joints as Tata Cellular judgment lays down? Is that contemplated within the tender? Yes. Which Lordships have seen, I don't need to go back to those clauses, either or equivalent in the corrigendum. But the 5-6 clauses that have to be read in continuum needs to be read once, Lordship, that clause 8. Because by reading it in a disjointed manner, an impression may incorrectly be formed or may get created that we were somehow not compliant with the terms of the tender. So Lordship, I am requesting from the petition if we can just see those at page 181. The general conditions.
8.4.
Yes, Lordship. I am starting, Lordship, from the top because I wish to show something relevant in each one of them. Because 8.3 has something relevant, so does 8.5, 8.7 like that. Lordship, 8 is general conditions. 8.1 only talks of the pre-qualification bid. 8.2 talks of the technical bid of those bidders shall be open to qualify in the pre-qualification. Now let's read 8.3, Lordship. The absence of specifications, details in the RFP regarding any equipment to be supplied under this RFP implies best general practices will prevail and that first quality material and workmanship will be applied. Please mark now. Certification standards, comma, when available, certification standards when available for the proposed equipment and materials will prevail. It is completely the prerogative of the MP police to accept, disapprove a deviation which may or may not lead to disqualification. So the play in the joints is there first in 8.3, now 8.4. MP police reserves the right to ask for any additional information as it may deem fit. We've seen that, Lordship, on multiple occasions, to evaluate the bid proposal at any stage before execution. I'm emphasizing on before execution of contract. In case the bidders who fail to submit additional information or clarification as sought within 3 days of the receipt of letter requesting for such additional information and or clarification, their bids will be evaluated based on the information furnished along with the proposal. 8.5. Now, Lordship, this is relevant because we've annexed the document too. The committee would be entitled to call for any further information. There are three things, Lordship: further information, document, and undertaking. Now, Lordship, that undertaking is at page 66 of my reply. But I'm not moving out of this page. I just want to finish these stuff. And this undertaking is after there is a live demo, which is basically, Lordship, for establishing my technical capability to implement. Undertaking and may also interview the authorized representative of the bidder in order to satisfy itself about the eligibility, capability, capacity of the bidder and technical specifications, trustworthiness of the product. The committee would be within its rights to get any secret or open inquiry conducted for the purpose. Please pause. Lordship, the query to be asked is, if there is an allegation of fraud against me with regard even to this QSC, and that is made to the MP police, did they make an inquiry? Did they try to satisfy? My instructions are yes, they did so. Further, Lordship, MP police reserves the right to contact and verify the bidder's information, references and data submitted in the bid proposal without further reference to the bidder. 8.6. The information, documents submitted and undertaken given by the bidder or its authorized representative to the committee will be deemed to be part of the technical bid of the bidder. Please mark, the decision of the committee on technical suitability of the offer shall be final. Now, Lordship, this is again relevant because in many tenders, this is the final point that is looked at. What did the technical committee finally hold its view? Then, Lordship, 8.7. Bidders should submit related information with supporting details as per the evaluation criteria specified. Please mark, the qualifying criteria may be modified by the bid evaluation committee in the best interest of the project. At 183, Lordship, is the technical evaluation.
Yes.
That, Lordship, will note that there is a technical evaluation to be carried out by marking the bidders. 9.1 clearly says that the technical bid of only bidders qualifying will be opened. Now 9.3, Lordship. Any bid found to be non-compliant to the mandatory technical requirements, RFP terms and conditions and scope of work shall be rejected and shall not be considered for further evaluation. Now, Lordship, while they refer to that, the learned petitioner, let's go to the other clauses. 9.4. The absence of specifications, details regarding any equipment to be supplied under this RFP implies the best general practices will prevail. So even if there is an absence of any specifications, the implication is that the best general practices will prevail and that first quality material and workmanship will be applied. Please mark, Lordship, certification standards when available for the proposed equipment and materials will prevail. It is completely the prerogative of MP police to accept, disapprove or deviation. We've read that, it's repeated here. So 8 is in clause 8 is repeated in clause 9. 9.5. MP police reserves the right to ask for any additional information as it may deem necessary to evaluate the bid proposal at any stage. Again, Lordship, a repetition of clause 8 before execution of contract. 9.7, Lordship. The committee would be entitled to call for any further information, document, undertaking and may also interview the authorized representative of the bidder in order to satisfy itself about 1. Eligibility, 2. Capability and 3. Capacity of the bidder and technical specifications, trustworthiness of the product. Then, Lordship, is the same thing to seek data, etc. and all. 194, Lordship. 15 is the rejection right. If Lordship has it, may I read? It's at
194,
194,
14.8,
Lordship, I am reading from 15.
15.
Yes, Lordship.
Yes.
MP Police reserves the right to reject any or all the proposals under the following conditions. 1. Notwithstanding anything contained in this RFP, MP Police reserves the right to accept or reject any proposal and to annul the selection process and reject all proposals at any time without any liability or any obligation for such acceptance, rejection or annulment, and without assigning any reasons thereof. Without prejudice to the generality of the above, MP Police reserves the right to reject the proposal if 15.2.1 at any time a material misrepresentation is made or discovered. This is relevant, Lordship. Now, a short while ago, Lordship, made the submission that what I've understood is that MP Police did go ahead and conduct its own internal satisfaction or whatever on these queries. And if that due diligence had been performed, as we are told it is, had they found a material misrepresentation, they had the right under 15 to cancel it. That is why 15.2 is relevant, 15.2.1 to be specific, Lordship. 15.2.2, the bidder does not provide within the time specified by MP Police the supplemental information sought by the MP Police for evaluation. 15.3, any misrepresentation, improper response by the bidder may lead to the disqualification, debarment, blacklisting. So now in addition to disqualification, a misrepresentation has the implications of a civil death in terms of even a debarment that may be considered against someone who misrepresents. If the bidder is a consortium, that is non-applicable, Lordship. 15.4, that the proposal by the bidder suffers from a material misrepresentation, improper response, including but not limited to the non-fulfillment of any conditions. And 15.5, if such disqualification rejection occurs after the proposals have been opened and L1 bidder gets disqualified, then MP Police reserves the right to invite the others. Yes, Lordship, they're getting it. That's what he's doing it. He's
Still haven't got it.
Well, Lordship, there is a little internet issue. They are getting it on my colleagues' thing. Give us that much time, I'll finish my submissions. We are
No,
not.
but their issue were only twofold, that people cert and this Q&A.
And People's Third Lordship is at 422, which Lordship has seen.
That,
And that is to be read.
My lord, I would like to address.
Let
my
me
lord.
finish.
yes, sir, you will get to rejoin.
Let him rejoin, Lordship.
People's cert is, for us, is not a closed chapter.
No,
That is
we
my
are not,
argument.
we are only noticing the arguments you had raised,
Well.
so pointing out, so he needs to only address it, we don't need to hear the entire matter afresh, it's still with us.
So, Lordship, just to close the loop, I'm just showing the page 422. You have read it, Lordship. And then Lordship may just mark that the corrigendum is at 593, which I don't need to read again because Lordships have seen it. 422 deals with Lordship that issue of either or. As Lordship said, it can mean either of this or that. And then Lordship 593 is the corrigendum of MP Police, in which the relevant page, Lordship, is 594. Would Lordship like me to read that? Because it was read, but I...
Shows that document.
Yes, Lordship. May come to 593, Lordship. This is the corrigendum of 8th of April.
Yes.
So, Lordship, this is the corrigendum, but the relevant is on page 594, Lordship.
Yes.
So, Lordship, this says the following points of the RFP published earlier are hereby amended. It may be noted that without going into the specific terminology or the wordings of a particular specification, wherever by what is being presented and demonstrated by the bidder, please mark, Lordship, is of equivalent or superior capabilities and the intended functionalities are fully achieved, that may be considered in the evaluation of bid after assessing the claim. So, Lordship, why this is relevant is again, not just the play in the joints argument. It is also the argument, as based in settled law, that the tender issuing authority or the author of the tender is in the best position to evaluate what would be right as per the requirements of the tender.
Yeah.
I think you got that. Now, Lordship, that also becomes important in terms of that earth pot argument. Although, again, without prejudice to the argument that this is part of the video conferencing, which is not an essential component, it is a component, absolutely. Yes, go out. Lordship, give us 2 minutes. The internet in the court is slightly less. You take this as well.
So that's all, you just tell us, by the time he's getting it, you tell us what you have to say.
My lord, if I can take my
So,
notes.
Lordship, then 2 minutes more on my reply.
1 second. You wish to add anything to what
No, my
Mr.
lord, we had already, my lord, pointed out that we in furtherance to clause 9.7, there was a requirement of a inquiry. There are permissible inquiries, my lord, which can be done by the tender inviting authority, including discrete inquiry, my lord. So we carried out our discrete inquiry. We found that the document is genuine; it's not forged, and therefore, my lord, 9.7 we have acted in accordance with the provision of the.
So
contract.
as per you, that bid
There
was
is no-
compliant?
Yes, yes.
Lordship, the reply, if I may just deal with that. There are some documents annexed there.
Anything further needs to be added to this? Because their argument is only limited.
Well, Lordship, in fairness, the argument has also been taken care of that they were initially disqualified, so a level playing field has been there. They were given an opportunity to come back. There's been a level playing field. For prejudice, since a lot of prejudice has been attempted to be created, I would have used it at the end of settled law. But in fairness, Lordship, there were also essential problems, because Lordship had asked the question, so I'll answer this also while we are waiting for it to assist the court. Lordship, there were major problems with the service as it existed, and this tender came out therefore. In 2024, it's also reported in the media, the CAG report pointed out.
Oh, but that doesn't.
I know, but because prejudice has been created on me. Of
There's
course,
no
Lordship.
question of prejudice. We're not going to go by prejudice.
Of course,
We have to see whether your bid was compliant, not
I'm
compliant.
grateful.
That's all.
So if that is rejected, I don't need to go on to this front, Lordship, because the things have been said that I was blacklisted, I was not. Tamil Nadu, all
You've
this.
not stated anything like that.
It was part of the
No,
amendment.
I've confined myself
That
entirely to
Mr.
facts.
Kohli,
Yes.
their argument was twofold, that cert,
And
certificate and
give the
submission of the
document.
cert document after
Now-
the bid
After
closure
the-
date.
Finally,
Oh,
Lordship,
And second
what-
was this
I'm
forced
grateful.
So on the day the contract was awarded, my lord, on
Yes, yes, so
on
Mr.
that
De
day the
Silva.
documents.
Mr. De Silva.
Mr. De Silva, so that Mr. Kohli can add in case something is left out,
So Lordship,
that they were to have a certificate from People's Cert. They did not provide it before the bid closure date. They provided a People's Cert certificate after the
After.
bid closure date, which you say is not permissible.
Yes, my lord.
Second was that Q&F document is a forgery.
I say that document, my lord, is a created document. It's not a
Yes, so
document
it's
provided
not
by
it's
US.
not as per the format
Yes.
also.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
they
point.
say, my lord, that they admit that. They say it has been issued by a channel partner.
Yes,
Whereas
yes,
the
so that's
requirement
their
is,
case.
and the requirement is that it has to be issued by the OEM.
No, Mr. De Silva, we are only voicing what your argument is,
My
so that
lord.
if something is left out, Mr. Kohli can add. So these
My
are the 2 points,
My
he's
lord,
already
that's right,
covered
my
that.
now, should Lordship wish, nothing new. We just made all the arguments that I'm professing in bullet points, not even in paragraphs, Lordship. Over just 2 pages, all the bullet points
Mr.
answers
Kohli,
on the document.
We have a system, after arguments, we do permit parties to file it.
I
So please
thought for
file
assisting in
it.
the
If you
arguments.
don't want to file it, give it, we'll take it. And we'll also
Lordship, I
permit
can
Mr.
find
De
it
Silva.
also. It was only to assist Lordship that I finished my.
We welcome it, we want it.
I can't, my Lordship, you said it so directly, I don't have any other words now to say. Now, Lordship, there was a query that came from the bench. I think we can give copies to Lordship. Lordship, a query had flown from the bench on the last time, and the example.
Does this also deal with your summation of the value of this component vis-a-vis the contract?
15
value?
lakhs. Having dealt with
Because that's one of the points you're trying to make.
it.
If not, then please file it in 2 days.
Okay, Lordship, we shall. Take it back. I will take it back.
Wapas kar do, then file it in 2 days. Both parties can file it in 2 days.
So, Lordship, a query had flowed from the bench in terms of the example of a hospital on the last date. If Lordship would recall, had asked this query, what happens if the hospital is built? Because I had pointed out that on the 4th of September, the project stood implemented in totality. 1,200 vehicles are there in 980 police stations across the 55 districts. They are live and 6,000 people on the call centers are working. Then a query had come, then what happens if this was to be, for example, the building is built by the hospital and the services are by another? 2 points on that, Lordship, to assist. Respectfully, Lordship, in a tender, which is a composite tender of a service component and an equipment component, often, more often than not, almost with certainty, there is a cross subsidy and a cross planning, because you look at a 5-year perspective, not just the equipment of supplier, which is a single point. That takes place. So respectfully, that is not possible. The second part to it, just as an example, Lordship, and I ask myself, from a hospital example, a hospital building is very different to a building otherwise. The hospital building also includes the piping for oxygen, for other things, etc., emergency response and all. So a service provider tomorrow, if there is an issue in the delivery of the service by the service provider subsequent to one who put it up, where does the buck stop then? Which is the same thing. I give my vehicle to somebody for whatever be, genuine reason it starts, doesn't start, gets off, doesn't get off. Whose responsibility? Responsibility also is assigned in a composite tender to make it clear that the responsibility cannot shift and it does not lead to litigations in terms of a blurring of line. Yes, Lordship. So the only thing which finally, while they are bringing that, Lordship, 11th of June 25, QSC confirmed the MAF, which is at page 75 of my reply, that one document you missed.
Mr. Kohli, the argument to that document from Mr. De Silva's side was that is after the date of bid closure.
Yes, Lordship.
That was
That
the
argument has been said.
That's all. Just show us the document. Yes, Mr. De Silva.
Mr. De Silva can make his points in the media, Lordship.
Can I take my lord to
Mr. De
Annex
Silva,
R?
just one point. The vehicles are in place, the manpower is in place of theirs. Assuming we were to accept your argument and annul the contract, there are two consequences which will flow. Entire contract goes, their equipment, manpower goes, and you bring in your equipment and manpower. Other is, you take over their equipment and bring in your manpower or take over the manpower. So these are the two consequences, because these are emergency services.
Ma'am,
It's not that suddenly we withdraw all the emergency services and the state is left high and dry. These are services, there has to be a seamless transition, if at all.
ma'am,
Either they continue, or if they go, then there has to be a seamless transition, you taking it.
my lord.
Would you be willing to take over this entire project as it is? Or would it be feasible? And would it be permissible?
My lord, if my tender is accepted, then my lord, I definitely approach them for the whatever equipment and things they have already procured.
No,
Now-
question, there are three questions. Would you be willing to take it over?
I'll be willing to take it over.
Their equipment, their manpower,
Yes, my lord.
or would you be able to seamlessly bring
My
in
lord,
fresh?
till for the last 10 years, we were running the show. my lord.
No, Mr. De Silva, the thing is this. Today, how many vehicles are there, Mr.?
1200
They
Lordship.
say 1200. my
1200.
lord.
How
No,
much
not they
is the
say.
man?
It is 1200 Lordship.
How much is
6,000
the
manpower.
3,000.
At
So there are 1200 vehicles, 3,000 manpower.
6,000. 6,000.
6,000 manpower. And they are providing services.
My lord.
Because we also, while looking at contracts, also have to look at the public interest angle.
My lord.
If we today annul the contract,
My lord, we'll be in a position to enter, my lord, moment we get the contract.
no, enter in the sense, would you bring in your manpower
We'll
and
bring in our
equipment?
manpower,
You will
Lord.
bring in your manpower and
Yes,
equipment.
because we already got the manpower.
All right.
We have more than 1 lakh employees, my lord.
That's all right. We just wanted to know that.
It's coming
My
within
lord.
5 minutes, Lordship.
My lord, can I take my
And
lord?
just on that one part of permissibility, Lordship, what I would argue on law, that Lordship, that perhaps as per settled law may not be possible. Because the only thing that can be considered is the decision-making process. Even the terms are not. And if Lordship wishes, I am relying on 3 judgments. The primary one being Lordship, Jagdish Mandal.
No, that you've already made a point.
Yes, Lordship.
You already
This-
argued that.
Yes, Lordship. But those judgments are referred to. I'm not taking.
Judgments in your note, you can
It will
give
be
the
part.
relevant paragraph
Of course,
numbers of
Lordship,
the
we will do
judgment.
that.
We'll deal with that.
The second is, Lordship, to answer on the public interest. This is relevant, Lordship, because one of the latest judgments now is by the division bench of the Delhi High Court, where the challenge was against BSNL 65,000 crore thing, where in the final paragraph 77, even though the court holds on merits, we find that there were certain issues that we preferred it would not have been so, on public interest, we will not interfere. Because that is the paramount consideration, not between two private players, who is going to be the beneficiary of the contract. So that is a judgment we will rely on, which is Pace Digitech. And Lordship, of course, my learned friend is also relying on it. So, but as we are both relying on the identical, they are relying on BBG, Municipal Corporation of Ujjain versus BBG, where they were L1 and they were not given the contract, it was given to an L2. While the proposition that they may be relying on is that an L2 can get the contract, the proposition that we are relying on is what is of paramount importance is what is the law in this. And in this case, we are the L1.
Oh, Mr. Kohli, in case your tender is non-responsive, you're not L1.
Of course, Lordship, but we are
They're
responsible.
L1.
That is our case.
That's my argument.
That's
my
right.
lord.
We understand
One
that.
minute.
We understand that.
Bol, yeah. Don't worry.
Yes, Mr. De Silva.
My lord. My lord, can I take my lord to Annex R?
I will,
once
Lordship,
again,
just
my
go
lord?
and coordinate that. I am concerned about the time. For a moment.
That's the reply of, my lord, the respondent number 2, GVK.
Yes.
That is at page 56 of the reply, my lord.
Item number 26 in the report.